Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jennifer Osinski, and I am the Director of the Accessibility Office. I have with me today Deborah Holper, who is the Assistant Director of the Accessibility Office, and Robert Bowers, who is our Adaptive Technology Specialist. And today we will be going over adaptive resources, the immersive reader, and neurodiversity. And we will be connecting all of this to universal design so you can apply it to your classroom. So our agenda today is Robert Bowers will be going first, going over the assistive software technology resources. And then Deborah will be coming over for neurodiversity, connecting it to the immersive reader and the helper bird application. And as I stated earlier, I will be going over universal design for learning and how to apply these tools to your classroom. And then as a team, we're going to do a wrap up and take your questions. So the Accessibility Office mission, just to remind everybody, is to assist in securing an equal and accessible education at Bucks County Community College for students with documented disabilities. And we want to encourage an environment of diversity through awareness and education, and make sure that we're fostering campus-wide ownership of accessibility.
All right, so I'll take over now, Jen. I'm going to be going over the assistive software technology resources that we actually have on our website. Bucks County Community College Information Services, ITS, department has not reviewed any of these products that is listed on this page and does not provide support for any of them. So the user assumes responsibility for installing and maintaining these products. The following outside resources that are offered in order to assist users in connecting with the needed assistive technology. The Accessibility Office, TAO, encourages college students and faculty to explore these and other resources that may help them in their journey. So let's get right to it. We're going to go through a little bit of them. Right off bat, at our fingertips right now, accessibility features are built within operating systems. If you have a Windows, Mac, or even a Chromebook, they all have built-in features that come at no cost to the user. I love telling this to the students and faculty that ask. People don't realize these things. There's a lot of situations where they may need these assistants and it's already built into their device that they have. Even the cell phones, they have built-in accessibility features. I know I see a lot of people using the speech to text thing. Well, guess what? That's an accessibility feature. And a lot of people may not know that that's what it's for. And people may take it for granted, but it is very helpful. And people that use it can contest to it that it really does help them when it comes to using their smartphones. With browsers, accessibility features like Microsoft Edge, Chromebook, and Firefox have been making strides due to the fact that we all have been working hybrid schedules and remote. They have been juicing up their accessibility features to make it more easier for people for disabilities. So it's very beneficial. So just keep those things in mind. And by the way, if anyone does want these slides, we will be providing that to the people who ask for them. It will be also on our webpage, and all these links will go right to it, to those particular functions within Windows, Macs, etc. A couple of things that we have for outside applications. Keep in mind, these are up to the users to install and maintain them. We have a screen reader that I did look at NVDA Access, free for Windows operating systems. Now, it's not made for the Mac because the Mac already has these features. So back in the day, Windows didn't allow to have these accessibility features. So the NVDA Access gave it to people that couldn't afford like the ones like JAWS, which is a screen reader for the low vision and blind. Mostly for the blind individuals, they would tab through, but NVDA Access is a free version of it from a third-party company that provides it to people with disabilities so that anybody can get their hands on. For reading, there's Natural Reader, which is free to paid features that provide text-to-speech within Windows and Mac operating systems. Since it's based on the browser, they can access this at any platform at their leisure. Writing, for instance, we have OneNote. Everyone that has Office 365, faculty, staff, and students have access to OneNote. It's a digital notebook with a plethora of tools. And as we get more into this training or this session, Deborah's going to get a little bit more into the immersive reader, which is another tool Microsoft provides within their cloud. And OneNote is one of the products that has that tool. Now, there's a couple other things out there that I have explored. Sign language mobile applications, which is like it's by Mimits 3D sign language translator. It's free. It's a mobile app that can be used on Apple and Android devices that interprets spoken and written into English into sign language. So it's very cool stuff. I really highly recommend checking out a few of these things. As we go forward with this list, we have a couple other things that can be helpful. On my exploration on the web, I found a couple things like for seeing people that are blind and or visually impaired that need to navigate certain areas. Now, it may not work too good on our campus, but navigating like the cities of New York City or anything that's documented in Google can be very helpful using these good maps. Explore, it's a free application they can put on their phone and it helps them navigate, just like we would use for Waze or MapQuest or any other the direction navigation apps that we have on our phones that we use today. This is kind of similar to that, but for the blind or visually impaired. For captioning, there's tons of things out there, but this is just one of them. Presentation translator for PowerPoint. It's free with the purchase of Microsoft PowerPoint, and also through Office 365. It's partially in there, but if you have it installed on your computer, you can download this app that's from Microsoft. That's an add-on that provides live closed captioning that supports different languages. And that link goes right to Microsoft, and it'll give you a little video on how to check that out if you're interested. Another thing from Microsoft is a speech text program that's Microsoft Office 365 Word. Deborah will probably touch a little bit based on this, and this will pretty much all you have to do is click on the dictate button, and it will dictate and transcribe all the speech and text into transcript. It also is under the dictate button. We can get into it when we go through it with Deb. Is you can actually put in an audio clip and it will transcript. It will give you the whole transcript of that video. So let's say, for instance, this Zoom session we're doing right now. I need a transcript for this video. If I get the audio track from this Zoom session, I can put it in Office Word and it'll dictate, it will transcribe the whole conversation. Now, there's obviously we have to tweak on who's speaking, but it can be very helpful in a pinch when you need something transcribed on a Zoom session. A couple other things as we get close to the list. Like I said, this list is more detailed on our website. We can surely show you where that is. But I'm just going through one of them one at a time per the areas that I have. For organization, Microsoft has something for doing that as well. For task and reminders, it's free planner for Windows OS systems. So usually when you get a Microsoft computer, this stuff is going to be installed depending on how you have it set up. And once the students get into Office 365 with their Bucks account, they're going to have this already. All they have to do is click on that tab over there in the top left-hand corner, and you're going to see all these apps that have free access to them. Now, another cool thing is a math tool, Microsoft Math Solver, which is can be helpful at certain times. It basically solves problems from pre-algebra to calculus with a step-by-step directions, which is what I like about it, is because it won't just give you the answer, it will show you how to get to the answer step by step. And guess what? Since it's on Microsoft Cloud, you can enable the immersive reader for it to read it to you. And also on my past presentations, which you can check on our webpage, I go into greater detail on how to use OneNote to use a problem that can be solved with pre-algebra and calculus with the step-by-step directions with the immersive reader. So it's really cool stuff out there. And like I said, it's free to students because they get it once they get Office 365 up and running. Another cool thing, character recognition, which is OCR tools, Google Drive Converter, which is built into Google Drive. You can pretty much put PDFs into it and go under the settings and within a photo, and it will rip the characters, the words from it, and make it viewable for blind individuals who are using a screen reader. Now, obviously there's a little bit of play with it, but it makes everyone's lives easier when you have to convert an image, a photo, into a transcript or a Word document for a blind individual to read with their screen reader. Really cool stuff here. Now I'm going to actually pass the baton over to Deb, and she's going to talk about neurodiversity in the college environment. So here you go. I'll pass it to you, Deb.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am going to talk about neurodiversity in the college environment because this is where the trend is moving towards. It's looking at how we can support neurodiverse students. this originated with Judy Singer. She wrote a thesis at the time and published a book called Odd Man Out. She herself identifies as autistic. And in this thesis, she recognized that neurodiversity is about individuals that have differences in the way they think. It's not pathological, but rather natural, a natural development in an evolution. So to help us support this neurodiverse student that would come to us, technology strategies are here to meet the learning needs. So when we look at neurodiversity, we're thinking about ADHD, ADD, autism, psychological, neurological disorders, and also technology helps support other disclosed or undisclosed learning differences. Immersive Reader, in my opinion, is adaptive technology that meets the universal design for learning. And we're going to take a look at Immersive Reader in the Microsoft suite, or in the cloud, as within the cloud, as Rob put it, in different degrees. So we're going to look at Edge. What I found new was Helper Bird extension, and also what I found new was in the Word document in Office 365. Now, usually when we present Immersive Reader, we know it's in the Canvas site. But what I got excited about is how it can be helpful to students outside of Canvas, how they can use the Immersive Reader. So if you can go to Edge, please, Rob.
Yeah, let me know if you see it on the screen.
I see the Word document.
Okay, then you're good to go.
Okay, can you take us just to the Edge? We were going to just go to the web, like a web page in Edge.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Okay, we're in Edge now.
Okay, so if you can look, it's hard to see, but at the top, you can see where it has read aloud. It's an A with little lines around it. So we're not going to do Helper Bird yet.
Okay.
Take a look at the read aloud piece.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you guys can hear that.
Well, to get the function going, just so everyone knows, is if you don't see it in your web browser on the top right-hand corner of Edge, usually it will come with an A with the little asterisk of going up.
Yeah.
Also hit Control-Shift-U to enable, just so people are aware.
Okay. I don't know if it's reading the site. I'm not hearing it.
Oh, black box.
There it goes.
Workforce development. Business and career.
Okay, so you can pick your voice options, but it will read websites for you. Okay, but I wanted to show you that. Now, the next one we were going to take a look at is the Word document. Now, when you have it in Word, you can also, you opened up already the reading view and the Immersive Reader. So that's under View. And if you would let them play the immersive, let them read it, it can be read. And when you go into the immersive
world that views disability, mental or physical, not as a hindrance but as unique attributes that can be seen as powerful assets if given the right opportunities, Oliver Sacks.
And that's definitely UDL statement. You can also work with this in the Immersive Reader. So you have the opportunity to use the dictionary, if you want to show them that, where that is. Line focus. You can do changes of the text, if you want to show them that. You can also do the grammar piece, which is nouns, verbs, adjectives. But the cool thing about this that we found too is, as Rob mentioned, we can dictate. And there's also an edit feature, which was on the bar before. Now, in the Word document itself, you can see there's not a translator. But what we found was that when we did a search and we did translator, we can also translate the document. So this is great for students with ESL. And I have to tell you, I had a student that called us about accessibility, and she had certain other accommodations that she needed. But one of the things that she told me that she came to the United States at 15. So she was really having trouble with the language piece. When I told her about immersive reader and the fact that it translates, she was like, she didn't know anything about it. And she was so excited because there was just times when she didn't understand specific words, or she needed a little bit more of a translation, and it was really helpful. Okay. Rob, did we try dictating? Does it, if you dictate, it will translate for you too, right?
We can try. Let me just see if it can catch your voice. I don't know if it will.
No, I mean, we did this already, right? If you dictate it, it will.
Well, like I was saying earlier, this is the dictate button. So you can click on the dictate button as long as your computer has a speaker, which most laptops do. You click on the dictate button, it will just dictate everything you say. And what I was saying about earlier is there's a transcribe button that can help as well. So basically, like I said earlier, if you have an MP3 file of that Zoom video or any video that you have done in the past, you can upload the audio and then it will transcribe that whole thing for you.
And that's going to be really helpful if you're watching videos. You have to take notes on the videos. You can then do the audio and get a script of what the dialogue was, which is going to be really helpful for students who have to do note taking. And sometimes the processing is a little bit slower. They can't remember right down, even though they could review the video over and over. You know, we didn't take a look at the editor piece too, that's on there.
Where do you want me to go?
Go back to the dictation, and right next to it was editor. That was the full bar. Where the microphone was. There it is. There's the editor feature. So this really was surprising to me. So not only can you have your paper read to you, but you can also edit it as what you see in the different kinds of writings with this spelling, grammar, acronyms, clarity. It kind of like gives you a small Grammarly. But again, you have to be careful with the editing pieces because they can be considered, you know, copying. So we need that to be very careful with students, but it's there for the student if they need it. So that's the piece that I said. Did I miss anything? I don't think so.
For the Word document, not that I know of, I believe if you want, you can touch base on the helper bird now.
Okay, so what we need to do then to take a look at helper bird is we want to go back into Microsoft, into a website. So if you can pull down the extension. So one of the things that bothered me with Immersive Reader was like, it didn't always seem to work all the time, especially if you have a PDF. So I found a helper bird extension. So it's, you can show it to them. There it is. So this is helper bird. This is the extension. Yours is a little different. Oh, there it goes, Rob. So the ones with the diamonds on them are extensions that come only with you purchasing helper bird. So it costs $6.99 a month to purchase, and then they offer a pretty reasonable price for students. On a yearly basis, it's kind of expensive if a college were agency or business purchases it. But these are the kinds of things that you can do with it. And it's pretty much supporting immersive reader. So all these things that Rob's showing you with HelperBird, you can get on your website. But now here's the cool thing. Rob's going to open up a document. And you do that by, you want to show them how to open the document? Yeah.
So I'm actually already have it pulled up, so we don't have any glitches, but to
Right,
open
just
up a document, you would have to just go to the HelperBird app and open
right.
PDF. Basically, it will pull from your computer wherever you have a PDF document stored, and it'll open up for you on the web browser, just like you see our flyer here. So go
Well,
ahead.
the first thing it will do, it'll show you like a sample PDF. And then in order to get it to be pulled from your computer, at the top there, Rob, where it's black on the, no, hang on. No, on the menu that you have, not the HelperBird menu. Yeah, that's the one. No, the last one where you were open. That opens the PDF. That's how Rob got this up there. It will open the PDF for you. Now, the only thing that you have to worry about is that HelperBird will only work with 2,300 characters, which means that if you have a longer document with Rob and I try to pull up, it really won't work. But once you have that up, then you can put it in Immersive Reader where the little book is, I believe. Right. And it'll put it right into Immersive Reader. And now you have this PDF document that can do all the things that Immersive Reader did. You can change the color, the font, you can put the dictionary in, you can do the line reading. And it works beautifully. Again, it's only 23 characters. So if you have a longer document, it might be beneficial if you actually bought the Pro, as they call it, HelperBird Pro. Okay, I think that's it. I think we covered it all. We can go to the next slide. So one of the things that I want to take a look at, remember I said it's UDL, right? So Immersive Reader does all of this for all these learners. If you're an auditory learner, you can listen to the text. You can do the dictating and the editing feature if you need it. If you're a read and write learner, you also have the ability, right, to adjust the font, the type of font, the color, the contrast in the background. If you're a visual learner, you can do the adjust of the line focus, label parts of speech, dictionary. If you have basic learning disabilities, you might use all of those. And anybody with chronic medical conditions or an ESL person, who I'm not putting under as a disability, just somebody that would fall under the category of ESL, this may be a very useful tool. So basically what we're saying is Immersive Reader can address all of this. Go to the next slide. So one of the benefits for individuals with executive functioning challenges, and that's an ongoing trending type of information that we're finding coming in our documentation, executive functioning challenges or executive functioning coaches. This particular chart that I made is based on Brown's model of executive functioning. And basically what he says is this, when it comes to college, he says in order to activate, that means be able to get ready, set, and motivated to do your work. To be able to focus, that means to be able to sit, focus on what you're doing, change different things that are happening during your day and go back to the same focus. Doing an effort, and finally completing the task, which would be action. It really depends on working memory. And for people with executive functioning challenges, working memory seems to be, according to Dr. Brown, a big challenged area. Most people can only hold in their memory somewhere between, well, there's new research out there now. It used to be 5 plus or minus 2 pieces of information. Now it's looking to say anywhere from 2 to 3 pieces of information at the same time. So I want to just remind you guys that we are already offloading, right? I call my phone my second memory now, because if somebody asks me a question, guess what? I go to Google and look it up. We don't have to remember telephone numbers anymore either, because it's on our phones. Our phone is offloading. So using Immersive Reader, the student is able to offload some of the things that they have to keep in their brain so that they can complete the task. If they have to figure out, words or syllables, or they're not sure how to pronounce things, or they can't remember what this particular word means, and they have to remember it when they're reading. All of those things are taking up space in that memory. So by providing for them these functions that I have listed, it provides them the opportunity then to use that memory to work only on the project, or as best as they can on these other things, activation, focus, and effort, so that they can then complete the project. And now I'd like to hand this over to Jennifer, because she's going to go over a little bit more about universal design.
Okay, everybody. UDL, also the long name is Universal Design for Learning. This is essentially setting up your curriculum and your activities to be accessible to multiple types of learning. So the main ones that we know of are kinesthetic, visual, auditory, and tactile. So we want to make sure that you're building up success from the get-go for multiple learning styles and learning needs. We have CAST, C-A-S-T, which is the universal go-to for universal design. They are the gurus, and we follow their instructions, and they are the leaders in this area. Rob, next slide, please. So we want to make sure that all of these learning styles are addressed. So each student, if we look at understanding the self, they're going to be impacted by various things. What's going on at home? What is their life experience? Are they an international student? Did they grow up here their entire life? Did they move here from another state? They have a great ability to be creative and problem solve, but taking tests is not their thing. We all learn differently, and we all bring different things to the table, but making sure that you have opportunities for students to bring their learned experience and be open to them contributing and connecting multiple experiences to your curriculum makes it more accessible for all learners. The visual and the spatial, most people are visual learners. You want to be able to see it. You have to look at it, really get, that sense of the color and how it's appearing. I'm one of those people where I have to color code everything. As you can see behind me, my binders are color coded. It's just how my brain works. Our administrative assistant, Teresa, is always like, no, I need to see it. You have to show it to me. There are a lot of people who do that. And then I'm also a verbal learner. I need to see it, but I also need to hear you talk to me. I have to talk it out. And my team knows that they'll send me an email and I'll be like, okay, we need to chat about this, because I just want to make sure I'm understanding and processing what they're saying. And there's certain students where they may look completely disengaged, but as long as they're hearing you, they're getting the information, because that's the way they learn. And their way of demonstrating things may not necessarily be on pen and paper. It's through language. They want to tell you what they've learned and how they're processing this and what they've gained from it. And then we have musical students that are just very expressive in those areas with singing. And it's a very mathematical but creative way that the brain works. They have rhythm and they have melody as part of how they learn. These are the students that we'll take a song and make a mnemonic to remember what they're learning. So if you guys remember Peggy Sue Got Married from back in the day, I'm dating myself, but they had the song Battle of D-Day instead of That'll Be the Day from Buddy Holly for her to remember how to pass the test on D-Day. And then you have your regular logical mathematical geniuses that I admire. This is an area I struggle with, but these are your logic people that, they need the numbers, they need the formulas. They love solving puzzles, but they need those rules and they want things constructive and to move. in a more linear fashion. So they're more rational. They're not necessarily going to color out of the line. So we're not looking at Jackson Pollock in this area. We're looking at those people that really enjoy order. And then we have those other people that want to help others. Everything is about empathy and caring and really making those connections with those around them. It's very social learning, very cooperative learning, and it has to have meaning behind it. So if we're able to incorporate our learning strategies to include all of these types of learning up front, yes, it is more work up front, but then in the long run, it causes you less work because you don't have to make as many adjustments because you're already accommodating all of these learning needs up front, which also helps people with disabilities. So again, universal design for learning is great for people with documented disabilities, but you're also helping such a wide range of the student population that when someone does have a disability, a lot of times you're already ready for them to come in. Next slide, please. So you want to make sure that your class, your curriculum, your activities are developed to be usable, you know, with and without the need for adaptation or assistive technology. You always need to be prepared for some adaptation because there's always going to be something that walks in the door that we have never seen before or nobody's thought of. There's always a unique situation. But again, there are some times where if you're making a test, does it have to be timed? Is the speed that someone is producing the information that they learned what is important in that situation? Or is the production of their thought process, their critical thinking, and their problem solving demonstrating content mastery what we're really looking for? Now, sometimes in an actual situation where students have to be proctored, yes, we do have to put time limits on it. But if it's something that they can do at home, that's open book, and it's not going to impact your curriculum, if you can do that, it saves a lot of trouble up front. Just for one example. We want to make sure that we're designing and developing in ways that can be made usable with all of the assistive technologies. So instead of photocopying things, make sure that it is not just a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. Because if you have a student who comes in that needs a reader, a screen reader, that's not going to be readable. You want to try and make sure that everything is already typed into your Canvas or that you're using accessible documents. And if not, coming to us or Deborah Carney to make sure that you're getting the accessible document. That's just one example of how to make sure you're universally designed up front. And you can use the accessibility checkers in Canvas and through all the Microsoft products that you're using to develop your course materials, and also in the Adobe products. And you want to make sure that you have lots of options and that things can be manipulated if you do have a user that comes in and what you have developed isn't as easy for them to access. Again, that's with and without disabilities. So I'm one of those people, as soon as you tell me there's a test, it's an immediate meltdown. I hate taking tests. You can ask my husband when I took my certification license test for teaching, there was a lot of drama involved with that and a lot of anxiety. But it was something I had to suck up and do. But we found ways for me to practice over the month or two beforehand that lessened my anxiety and to do things. But the great thing was the study guides came in multiple modalities. Again, I'm an auditory person. I read, I love to read, but the best way for me to learn is to hear it. So we found auditory copies of the study guide so that I could listen to them over and over again. And that's a universal design method that's available to people that I was able to use them, listen to them, and do well on my exams. Next screen, please. So the Higher Education Opportunity Act of 2008, this is a federal recognition that UDL is a best practice to be applied when we're teaching in higher education and using the 3 principles of UDL. And this Opportunity Act also emphasizes that pre-service training through teacher education programs is essential, which is what you're doing now. And we can also do personal training and assistance at any time or departmental trainings. We're also going to be doing the Accessibility Advising Institute with Bill Hemmig over spring break. If you're interested, we'll be going over a lot of that technology that you can apply to the class and all the universal design instructions. And again, it's not just about students with disability. We have students in general with diverse needs. So we have English language learners. That's not a disability, but those students need supports and assistance. And again, with the immersive reader, as Deb highlighted, this is a great opportunity for us to ensure more access to another diverse population that we have on campus. So we want to make sure that we're reaching everybody. Next slide, please. And again, we want accessibility for all. So just think about, we've all been through college working here. Think about when you were in class and you hated that teacher. How many of us who teach make sure we don't teach like that guy because that guy drove us nuts, or that woman who was just awful? So we want to make sure that we're taking the best of all of the training we've had as instructors and bringing it up, but yet remaining focused that we are flexible and adaptive for our students. We want to make sure every single student has full opportunity and access to all the educational opportunities that we're offering. That's the purpose of our educational system here. Students are not guaranteed to success, but they are guaranteed access to our curriculum. We are a community college. We are open access. We want to make sure that that access piece for everybody is available. And again, I can't emphasize enough, this is not just for students with disabilities. This is every single student that walks through our door. Next slide, please. So with Universal Design for Learning, we want to make sure that we also provide multiple means of engagement. And that means that you need diversity within your assessment systems. So I know a lot of us, it's easy just to have the bubbles and the Scantron and it's quick and it's done. But there may be other ways to have an effective assessment, and allowing students to do it in the way that works best for them, if you have the flexibility within your curriculum, might be a great way to do it. So some teachers will have you do a presentation, maybe write a paper if that's your strength, or if test taking is your thing, take the test. We all have different ways that we can show what our learning is. We want to make sure that there's a lot of opportunities for recurring interest and providing sustained effort for persistence with students. Next slide, please. And representation through multiple means. This means that we have to have options for language, logic, mathematics, expression, symbols to come through our curriculum. It's not just one way to do things. We want to make sure students have an option for different types of perception, different views, understanding other ways to look at things. And comprehension. Everybody comprehends things differently. Please remember, it's not just your brain, it's also your life experience and how you're going to perceive things that also affects your comprehension. Next slide, please. Action and expression. So as many of you know, I am not the sit still type or the be quiet type, and I'm sure some people love it and some people don't, but there's plenty of people out there like me, and they just need an opportunity to get their information out and to communicate with you. And it looks different for every student. So again, being flexible and having multiple avenues for students to communicate with you in their preferred modality is an amazing thing that really fosters learning and communication. And, you know, the opportunity to do something with regards to action in the classroom. Just sitting and listening sometimes is not going to work for a group of students. And we want to make sure that executive functioning is addressed in your classroom. As Deb has gone through, nobody is really the same in their mind, and everybody is a little bit different. So getting to know your students and finding out what those sensory needs are, or maybe having multiple sensory experiences available in your classroom, if appropriate, may engage your students and have greater buy-in from them. Next slide, please. So technology is a great way for universal design to be applied to the classroom. So we have some of our adaptive technologies here that we use, but, you know, having Wordle games and different things, Jeopardy games, having students interact with the technology, having them just play around and find new ways of doing things. There are so many different programs out there that are free or low cost that you can use to have students use. We also have tons of apps and different programs that we can use on campus that you can have students use to be more creative and apply to your classroom and your programming. And a lot of you use Bucks Plus. That's another way to do it. You're getting them engaged with different activities in a new program. Next slide, please. And that has ended our information session, and we will be more than happy to take questions from anybody if you have any.
So while we're waiting for questions, I'm actually going to go to our Bucks page to show you what we have and how to get to our accessibility resources that we have. So once you go through it, you'll be able to find them on the right-hand side, assistive software technology resources. And this actually is the list I just talked about earlier on the beginning of the session, but it's going to have more than just one item. I like to give options because not everyone likes to take the same path. And we give a variety of different options for each thing that we have here. The screen readers, reading apps, writing apps, a couple more sign language applications, a lot of different seeing apps that are out there. And keep in mind, these are free to low cost, and some of them are a little bit more pricier, but I had to make it on a variety because we're kind of trying to help out the community here. A lot more for captioning, speech to text, organization, a little bit more on the math tools, some more OCR stuff that can do for free, and a few assistive technology devices that we have on campus, a few of them. We do have the PCI, we do have the UB Duos here. The OrCam is something a student can either get through a grant or something, which is very helpful if they want to check that out. Some self-regulating tools. And since Microsoft and Apple have a ton of accessibility features, I have taken the liberty to put some stories in there about people with disabilities who are working at Microsoft and are striding, and some accessibility features built into those particular platforms, and the support numbers, help desk numbers for people with disabilities on there as well. So
Rob, do you mind if I jump in? I would like to highlight the UB Duo for everybody, since we do have that on campus. So this device is actually designed for a person of hearing to speak with someone who is deaf or hard of hearing. They are two little mini laptops that talk to each other. They are not connected to the web at all. These are for if a student who is deaf or hard of hearing comes in and needs customer service, but did not know that we don't have an on-site closed captioner full time. This way, we don't have to send them away and hope they come back. We can give them immediate service. All you'll have to do is call our office, or if we don't pick up, you can call student services and someone will let us know, and we will get that device over to you so that you can assist the student, whether you're doing advising, or, you know, just general follow-up, or they have a question at that point. So please know that these are available upon request, and we are more than happy to assist you with that. And the other thing I needed to let everybody know is that we've physically moved. So we are no longer in the student, Debbie's nodding her head. We are no longer in the student services office. The main office now for accessibility is the former career services office where Sharon Stevens used to sit. And I'm over in the old Achieve room, which is 51, along with our Adaptive Technology Center. And the Achieve room has moved to Rollins 317. So if you're looking for anybody, that's where we've all been shuffled around to.
I just wanted to jump in with Rob. Rob, can you show them that they can get to a helper bird from that website that page that you developed?
yes, let me go to it. It's under Assistive Software Technology Resources, like I showed earlier.
And we have that we have
there it is. Help
yeah,
the first one on
right there. You can click on that and you can get to what you need for the helper bird extension. One of the things that, just very quickly, was the immersive reader was developed for was individuals with dyslexia. But then immersive reader just exploded because they realized that it could support so many other people, as Jennifer clearly pointed out. The thing that kind of reminded me too is, like, even if you are giving directions that student has to read, if it fits into your curriculum, you could just say to everybody, hey guys, if you want to use the immersive reader with that, somebody has an earbud, they're going to plug in, they're going to make that choice. They can have those directions read to them in the classroom while everybody else is reading, or they're listening only, whatever they need to do. So there's a lot of applications if it fits into classroom curriculum and it's not about, actually testing the student, that type of thing. So.
And we're always happy to help you guys. And so is Deb Carney. She has regular office hours. Robert, Debbie, myself, we're here as much for the faculty as we are for the students. Nobody does this in a vacuum and nobody does this alone. Education is a team sport. And we're on the sidelines to help you guys while you're out there with the students playing the game. So please know, we are here for you just as much as we are for the students. I also want to give a shout out to, Regina, you're raising your hand. I was actually just going to talk real quick about your department. So Regina and Diane and everybody over in learning resources that do instructional design, they are also a huge help when it comes to accessibility on Canvas and designing your course with universal design. These guys are amazing resources and don't forget to use them.